Chapter 9 Insight. The sun was setting, painting the Tibetan mountain peaks, covered in eternal ice in whimsical colors. Purple-red replaced violet, yellow, and even green colors were cast on the mountaintops. Bhagavan, together with Kuthumi, sat near the entrance of the cave, meditating, contemplating, bidding farewell to the last rays of the star named Sun. Though it had already disappeared from view, its rays continued to illuminate the rows of feathery clouds, creating astonishing plays of light and peculiar, unearthly scenes on the horizon. Yet, these reflections of light plunged into darkness, and now only the fire's glow illuminated the wise face of the master and the attentive, gentle face of his disciple.
"Another day has faded on this planet,"
said Kuthumi.
"Night, like a little death, opens the doors to a different world for us."
"Why does the night open this door?" asked Bhagavan, inquiring his master.
"Because at night, a person descends into sleep, and sleep is the otherworldly realm, the subtle level where the soul goes after death. But the night is short, and a person doesn't have time to understand what is happening there. To prolong this night, yogis practice pratyahara, prolonged seclusion, being in complete darkness, silence, and fasting. In this state, a person begins to see the subtle world, sees and talks with various beings of that world. Depending on one's disposition, a yogi may encounter angels or demons, travel to the past or the future. The yogi learns to see and exist in different areas of the dream world. Wonderful secrets begin to unfold, one of which is that everything that was, is, and will be exists simultaneously in this world, but in different realms. And secondly, that all events on earth are first formed in the subtle level and then materialize physically. However, in the dream world, truth is revealed to us in symbolic form. For example, if you see muddy water, it signifies something bad. If it's a clear spring, it signals good events."
"And what if I see a black cat?" asks Bhagavan.
"It means the same as a black cat in our world. It is an omen of trouble,"
replied the master. Bhagavan recalled how in his childhood, as he was returning home, a black cat suddenly rushed in when he opened the door. Indeed, soon after, a great tragedy occurred in the house.
"Yes,"
said the master, reading his thoughts.
"The cat is not guilty. It's just a sign, a symbol. Whether it appears in our dreams or in reality, it always signifies the intrusion of dark powers into our lives. Now it's your turn to go through pratyahara and realize that this earthly life means nothing compared to the subtle world. It's only a feeble reflection of its greatness. You will teach your disciples this practice, to detach them from physical bonds, to show them where they will soon find themselves, so they can be ready to live in this beautiful world and not be reborn on any of the dark planets, where there are wars and revolutions, hunger and concentration camps, hard, exhausting labor, and a life full of miseries."
Bhagavan remembered meeting with Vanga, and she told him, "If people knew what awaits them on the other side, they wouldn't want to live here anymore."
"Yes, that's true,"
responded the master to his thoughts.
"Now go into this cave and discover it for yourself."
Gazing at the sky adorned with nightly stars, the disciple cast his eyes on the moon rising in the night sky. Then, turning, he entered the vaults of the cave, where the marvelous world was about to reveal itself to him. The cave reminded him of the womb of a mother, from where he went through a new birth, a birth from above, rising again into the heavenly realm, a connection he lost when incarnating into the heavy and cumbersome physical body. Only at night did the soul, shedding the shackles of the dense shell, soar to its homeland, the world of dreams, where it drew strength to toil again in the morning, in the heavy spacesuit of flesh, on the dreary and monotonous reality of Earth. It was cool inside the cave. Somewhere, water dripped monotonously. Comfortably settled on a pile of fresh hay, Bhagavan immersed himself in meditation, disconnecting his thoughts and being present in the here and now. Unfathomable darkness prevailed around him in the underground chamber. Hours passed, and the darkness turned into light. Let the eyes get used to the darkness, then they will see. Darkness is filled with light. An answer emerged in his mind. Hour after hour, the yogi's perception refined. It seemed as if he could discern the outlines of the cave walls, even in complete darkness. The sounds of dripping droplets now echoed like gong beats. He heard the pulsation of his heart, resonating through his entire body, and the sound of blood in his ears, resembling the murmur of an underground stream. As time went on, the opening of the third eye began. Before his eyes flickered white flies, followed by colored triangles, circles, and polyhedrons. His third ear began to hear snippets of phrases, iridescence of sounds and music. Thus, the perception of the subtle body, the perception of the dream world, unfolded. He knew this and contemplated everything, detached and calm, aware that if he succumbed to panic and identified with what was happening, he could go mad. Soon, fragments of images started appearing. Different faces, events flashed before his eyes. Beauties and monsters, gold and cripples seeking compassion. Angels and demons, each took turns appearing, frightening, enticing, teaching and begging for sympathy. He knew that these were images from the lower astral, hell. His subconscious was emerging, and with an impartial gaze, he contemplated all of it, completely detached. Hell raged, the earth crumbled. His master was killed. His mother was violated. Gold and the naked beauty of the female body enticed him. Disciples sought instructions, and mutilated, burnt children begged for compassion. But nothing could shake the contemplation of the great yogi. And suddenly, everything disappeared, and he entered the realm of dazzling light and bliss. Flames flared up, and from them emerged the great hierarch of light, El Morya. You have passed through hell and understood that hell is our imagination, making us react painfully and identifying to what it now generates. Go back to the past and gain knowledge of ancient civilizations. The flames disappeared, and Bhagavan saw himself hovering over the boundless expanses of the ocean. He flew and flew over it, and soon he saw a massive volcano erupting, an enormous mushroom-shaped cloud of smoke and ash. The volcano ejected colossal blocks of rock and entire rivers of molten lava, flooding the surrounding land. Massive pieces of land and rock flew from the crater, reaching the water and creating entire clouds of splashes, sinking to the bottom. Huge waves from these debris spread in all directions. Soon, he spotted a small ship cramped by these waves, sailing from this ill-fated continent and disappearing into the sea. "You see the demise of Atlantis," a voice echoed in his ears. The yogi flew closer to the ship and saw a group of priests on its deck, raising their hands to the sky and uttering a prayer. The face of one of them seemed familiar to him. "It's Rigden Japo," echoed in his mind. "He is leaving Atlantis to bring knowledge to people of Egypt now," said the voice. The yogi flew even closer, finding himself amid the sails, and began to hear the words of an ancient prayer by the Atlantean priests. "I, born here in the prison of the body. I, entangled in the web of desires. I, bound by human falsehood. I call out to you, O heaven. I, created for suffering. I, adapted here for slavery. I am the abode of fruitless dreams. I call out to you, O eternity. My life like a dream. My life as if I am insane. My life lingers in intoxication. How can I reach you, O God? My purpose, like mountain roots. My meaning, like bird's saliva. My thoughts, the breath of a fish. The sound of cat's footsteps, my achievement. But you are the light, inaccessible to the blind. You are the voice of truth, unheard by the deaf. You are bliss, for which there is no heart. How do I know you, Great One? Grant me vision to see you. Grant me ears to hear you. Grant me a heart for grace, so that I may become like you. Give me help to break the chains. Give me the strength to serve you, O God. Give me death to disappear, to dissolve in you, one. While the prayer echoed, the ocean engulfed the continent. Towers and pyramids disappeared in the waves. Finally, even the mouth of the volcano disappeared in the water, continuing to spew hot gas, smoke, and ash from beneath the waves. Thus ended the last day of Atlantis. Only the ship of the priests who had survived this catastrophe continued its voyage. When the prayer concluded, Bhagavan flew towards the priests and bowed before Rigden Japo. He immediately understood what was happening. "Rise, my son," he uttered. "You are not here in vain. This is the knowledge you came for. Keep it in your heart and convey it to the people, for the time of Armageddon is near, and what happened to Atlantis may await the entire earth in your time." "Why was Atlantis destroyed?" Bhagavan asked. "People identified themselves with their passions and instincts, inflated by their diseased imagination. They defiled God with lowly requests and even resorted to black magic to fulfill their low dreams, deviating from the religion that led the soul to salvation from this harsh world. They completely identified with the flesh and only sought more offspring, grain, cattle, and descendants. All their thoughts were about a sexual partner or victory in the next war. They did not heed our warnings, and now the cup of karma overflowed, and they found their doom. Warn the people in your future not to worry about the flesh, not to serve reproduction, war, acquisition, and imitation of each other.
but to save their souls by performing the prayer you heard. Otherwise, 7 incurable diseases will arise on Earth, leading to the death of billions, as humanity has excessively multiplied, and the impurity emitted by them will lead to destruction. "Oh, great priest of priests," Bhagavan addressed the lord of the circle of Kailash priests, Rigden Japo. "Aren't AIDS and hepatitis C 2 of these diseases?" "That is correct," he replied. "Only those who recite my prayer and believe in the circle of Kailash priests will be saved. Remember this." Bowing in deep reverence, Bhagavan was filled with determination to save the earth. Recalling the destruction of Atlantis once again, he asked, "I saw pyramids on your continent, exactly like the pyramids in Egypt. Why are the same structures erected on different sides of the world?" "Once, very long ago, there was only one continent on Earth, and Africa, Eurasia, America, and Atlantis were one landmass. At that time, people resembled a herd of wild monkeys. There was no civilization or culture. However, beings from other galaxies, sent by the powers of the cosmos, arrived. Small, child-sized, green humanoids, living off solar energy like plants, and possessing immense intelligence. They bestowed reason upon many humanoid beings, and only those like you have survived to your days. There were giants as tall as trees. There were also dwarves reaching up to our knees. The extraterrestrials built the first cosmic temples on Earth, which gathered and accumulated the energy of the universe. These structures are the pyramids that exist to this day. When the extraterrestrials granted humans intelligence and taught them the true religion, it was about discovering that which is infinitely higher and greater than oneself, merging with the soul of the entire universe, God. Through this union, humans would grow and develop, ultimately reaching enlightenment and merging with God. They left Earth, allowing humans the freedom of will, for only humans should choose the path of either development or destruction. However, not all humans chose the truth, and over thousands of years, this knowledge began to fade away. The single continent shattered into several parts, which started drifting apart, destined to meet again after a long time. The pyramids remained, but their significance was forgotten to the point where pharaohs turned them into tombs. Thus, their religion became a religion not of the living, but of the dead. Instead of focusing on the soul, they started worrying about their bodies, food, reproduction, and war. And even now, often in temples, one can see the coffins of kings or cemeteries around the church. People want to tailor religion to the needs of their flesh. "Go now and save your perishing world," spoke Rigden Japo. With that, Bhagavan again felt himself in his body, sitting in the cave on a pile of hay. But now he could see everything in the cave clearly, as if it were illuminated, although there were no visible source of light, no torches or lamps burned. The light seemed to emanate from everywhere. He then realized that the light of his consciousness was illuminating the cave. After some time, he left the cave, completing the practice of pratyahara. Bright sun rays illuminated the mountain slopes. Whimsical white clouds floated across the sky.
birds sang and leaves rustled. But Bhagavan now knew that there existed another world, much brighter and more saturated, where you could easily move through time and space, where hunger, cold, and thirst did not torment you, and where your desires manifested at the speed of thought. A world where nothing was impossible. And this subtle world now seemed more real to him than our earthly world. Next to the cave, as always appearing out of nowhere, El Morya greeted him. He smiled with the smile of Buddha, knowing and understanding all that his disciple had experienced. His orange garment fluttered in the wind. After offering a gesture of namaste and deep respect, Bhagavan sat in the lotus position, awaiting his teachings. One question circled in his mind. Could it be that the pyramids and all the great and mysterious ancient structures were the work of extraterrestrials? Why did they come here? How did they make humans intelligent? Reading his thoughts, the master shook his head.
Yes, questions, he said. But soon you will receive the answers yourself. Through this practice, pratyahara, you will personally witness what happened and how.
Can other people use this practice? The disciple asked the great master.
And what is required for that? Above all, pratyahara must be conducted under the guidance of a master.
El Morya replied seriously.
The person must be ready for it. They must be detached and balanced so that the images of the lower astral do not drive them insane. To develop detachment, one must subject oneself to strict discipline and understand the previous 4 stages of yoga: yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama. Then, in seclusion in a pure place of power, after pre-purifying the body and heart, one must engage in fasting and contemplation for up to 40 days. Only then will the secrets of the subtle world reveal themselves to the seeking mind. Om.
Do you want to know more? Watch the animated masterpiece that reveals the mysteries of humanity. Discover more sacred knowledge in books. You can meet the main characters of books at our seminars. Find your amulet of power. Participate in an individual ritual. Open free channel with daily spiritual practices for yourself. All these you will find on our website www.amazon1.org.
In our extreme times, when the fate of the entire planet is at stake, it is crucial for the knowledge of angels and benevolent spirits to spread as quickly as possible, globally, and reach thousands of people. In this way, we can change the future of all humanity. Which is why we are addressing you, dear soul of light. Spread the knowledge about our wise books and films. Share links to videos or cartoons. All of this is available and free. Invite women to individual practices, webinars, and seminars. And the Great Spirit of Light will help you and your family. It will direct an enormous amount of energy to fulfill all your desires. Benevolent spirits and angels will assist you and your loved ones in all matters. A thread of light and love extends from your heart to the hearts of thirsty women, and the creation of good and the dissemination of enlightened knowledge throughout the world begins. Become part of the mission of light. Help people, and God will help you.